Hello and welcome to Mr. Taofeek's Maths and Econs channel. This channel was created to help you achieve excellence in your maths and economics. In this video, I am now answering question 11 to 20 of your simplified exam past question solutions for the UTME exams. Before now, we have done question 1 to 10, so make sure you watch that if you haven't, because there's a lot of concept that was covered. And remember, the questions we solve are in 5 sections, which is the 5 sections of your JAMB syllabus. So making sure that we're not just randomly solving questions, rather every video you watch is preparing you for excellence across all the different areas of your JAMB syllabus. Without wasting time, let's get started on the very first question. Okay, question number 11. In a school, 220 students offer biology or maths or both subjects. Okay, so 125 offer biology and then 110 offer mathematics. How many offer biology but not maths? Okay, pay attention to that. How many offer biology but not maths? Okay, to answer this question, one of the best way to do is to quickly draw a Venn diagram. Okay, a Venn diagram that consists of 2 circles. One circle for those that are doing biology, we call that B, and then another circle for those that are doing maths. Okay, so very quickly now, let's put the number inside. The number of all the students in this school has to be what? Has to be 220. And then we're told that 125 of them offer biology. Now, this means everybody doing biology. And everybody doing biology is 125. Now, what does that mean? That simply means that everybody inside this circle belonging to biology must be 125, right? A common mistake for students is to write 125 here, and that's not correct. That's not correct, and I'll show you why it's not correct in a moment. So then the number of students doing maths. For maths, we have how many students? We have 110 students. So the 110 students doing math altogether. Again, this also represents these all circle over here. Okay, everybody doing math must be here. Now the question then told us that in this school, the 220 students offer biology or math or both. So nobody is doing none of them. So this list is going to be 0. This is to be 0 because nobody is outside. You have to do both or one of them. Okay. Now, how many students are doing both? That's very important because when you're populating these Venn diagram, you need to start from the middle. So X number of students are doing both subjects. We don't know how many they are, right? Then, so now these parts now, I said I was going to explain in a moment. This part now actually represents those students that are doing biology only. Just biology without what? Without mathematics. So to know those that are doing biology without math, we have to do what? 125, which is everybody doing biology. Take away what? Those that are doing biology and math, which is X. Now, to also know people that are doing math only, we have to do everybody doing math. Take away what? Those that are doing math and biology. So these places you see, this place represents those that are doing just math. Okay, this is math but not biology, while this place represents what? Those that are doing biology but not math, which simply means biology only. Are we together? So this is a math only, this area, and then this area here is what? Biology only, and this area is what? Both of them. Okay, so now the question I asked us to work out those that are doing biology but not maths. So that simply means those that are doing biology only. So this is what we are told to ask. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get into solving that. To be able to solve that, we need to know X, and then X is basically, to find X, we add everything inside the Venn diagram, which must be equal to the what? To the total number of students. Are we together? So very quickly, let's do the working out. So 125 minus X plus 110 minus X is equal to 220 students. So 125 plus 110, that's going to give us 235. We know minus X and plus X we cancel out. So what do you have? We have just minus X left over here. So minus X is equal to 220. So we can decide to move 220 here and take our minus X over there. So we have 235 take away 220, which is equal to X. So 235 take away 220, X is equal to 15. So there are 15 people in the middle over here. So if there are 15 people here, that means what? We're going to have this list to be 125 take away what? Take away 15. And 125 take away 15 for biology only will just be 125 take away 15, which is what? 110. I hope this clarifies Venn diagram. So the answer is B. I know Venn diagram sort of like usually has to be like a major problem. Students tend to be like, well, I really don't get it, and so on and so forth. I mean, sometimes students will even ask you that, but this is 125 doing biology and this is 110 doing mathematics. Why do we have more people than the number of people we have in the school altogether? The simple reason is because some people that are offering biology, okay, some people that are offering biology, as you see here, they are also doing what? They are also doing math at the same time. And how many are they? They are 15. That's why we have this 15 over there. Okay, that's why it looks like it is bloated. It's more than the number of people in the school, but actually it's not, because some people are offering biology, so they are counted as biology, and some people are also doing math, and they are also counted as math students. That's why we have that excessive number. But usually, this is how to solve it, and very, very simple and straightforward. Okay. A quick shortcut, anytime you want to quickly know what, if you have a two circle Venn diagram like this, and you want to quickly know what's going to be in the middle, all you have to do is just add these two numbers. 125 plus 110, that's going to give you what, 235, and take away what, the total number of students. That excess is what is in the middle of both of them, which is what, 15. All right, but you can also lay it out like this in a very fast way, and you can actually still manage your time well in JAMB. All right, next question, 12. Okay, we're still in number and numeration. In the previous video, I think we look at thirds, and I think we look at percentage increase and decrease. So make sure you watch them, because we're basically touching on all the areas that are important for your exam. All right, question number 2. Without using your calculator, apparently you can't even use your calculator, because the calculator you have in the exam would not allow you to do all of this on it. So without using tables, evaluate 343 to the power of 1/3 times 0.14 to the power of -1 times 25 to the power of -1/2. Now, this is basically indices, and there's a lot of indices about power that says that whenever I have a to the power of b over c, or let me just say a to the power of 1 over b, this denominator of the power, which is b, is going to become the root of the number, so the root of a. And then this 1 over here is going to become the power. So that's why if I have something like a to the power of c over b, it's going to become the b becomes the root of the number, while the c becomes the power of that. Okay, so now let's quickly apply that to this. So this 343 is going to become what? The cube root of 343, then to the power of 1. Well, this one, we need to do further simplification. Now, 0.14 is the same thing as 14 over 100 to the power of -1. We come to that. And then 25. So this is going to become square root of 25, right? Square root. You can decide not to write it 2 there, but yeah, just to, for uniformity, that's the square root of 25. So for your maths, by now, you should know your cube numbers, right? You should know your squared numbers from 1 squared down to 20 squared. You should know them, okay? And then your cube numbers, at least you should know from 1 cube to what? To 10 cube. Know this by heart. It's going to help your calculation a lot faster, okay? A lot faster. So very quickly, the cube root of 343 is 7, which basically means 7 times 7 times 7, which gives you 343. So the cube root of that is basically 7. Multiply by. Now, anytime something is raised to -1, anytime something is raised to the power of -1, say for example, I have 5 to the power of -1. That just means 1 over 5. Reciprocal of what? Reciprocal of the number. Okay. If I have 2 over 3, if I have a fraction to the power of -1, what it means is reciprocal. I will flip the fraction. I will flip the fraction. The 3 becomes the numerator and the 2 becomes the denominator. Okay. So in this case now, having a -1 there simply means what? We're going to flip this fraction. Okay. This entire fraction here is going to be flipped, and then we're going to have 100 out of what? Out of 14 times square root of 25. Right. Everybody knows that, right? So simplify very quickly. 7 here 1, 7 here 2. 2 in 100 is 50. 50 times 5, 5 times 5 is 25. That's 250. And our answer is, okay, the answer is in here. Did we make any mistake? Just to be sure. So 343, the cube root of that is 7 times 0.14, which is 14 over 100 to the power of -1. So we flip that, times 25 to the power of a half, which basically means the square root of 25. So 7 times 100 over 14, which of course we said 7 here 2, 7 here 1, the remaining 2, 2 here 1, 2 in 100 is 50, and then we did 50 times 5, 250. So the answer is 250. Apparently the answer isn't here, so the answer to this question is 250. Perhaps there is a mistake in the question or in the options, I guess, but this is how to do it, and this is the correct answer. The next section is algebra. So we have a question on algebra, which is question 13, and the question is saying find the inverse function of f of x. So we have f of x to be equal to 3x plus 4, and we want to find the inverse function. We usually denote the inverse function as something like this, f inverse of x, okay? Or we can say f dash like this. Whichever one is basically that. So to do your inverse function, there are a number of steps you have to take. To find the inverse function, there are a number of steps you have to take. Step 1, you need to rewrite your what? You need to rewrite your f of x as y, okay? Change f of x to y. So we're going to have y is equal to 3x plus 4. Now, at this point, there are 2 methods. There are 3 methods. So the second step is you will have to, there are 2 steps here. Some will say you should swap the x and the y. And then some will just say, go straight and make what? Make x the subject. That's my favorite. Just make x the subject. So making x the subject, what do we have? We're going to have to rearrange. So we have y equals to 3x plus 4. So making x the subject, I'll have y minus 4 equals 3x because I'm bringing my 4 to the other side. Now divide both side by 3. So I have x is equal to y, take away 4 divided by 3. And then the last step, which, you know, very easy. That's why I prefer this method. The very last step is that you're going to what? You're going to change your y to x, and then you change your x to the f inverse of x, which is what we are looking for, right? We're looking for the f inverse of x. So to do that, our final answer will be our x here, we change it to what? To the f inverse of x equal to our y. In this place, we change our y to x, so that will be equal to x take away 4 divided by 3. Of course, if you look at the options, we might have to just quickly rewrite it as 1 over 3 into bracket x take away 4, and then we have our answer. So option D is our answer. Okay, so this is the step-by-step method of working out what? Of working out your inverse function. Very simple, 3-step. Change your f of x to y, then make x the subject, and then in your final answer, change your y to x and change your x to f in the f inverse of x. All right, the next one on algebra, we have the arithmetic, and this is AP and GP. So the question says that if the 9th term of an arithmetic progression is 5 times the 5th term, find the relationship between A and D. So we already know that A and D, A is the first term, and D represents what? The common difference, right? A is the first term, D represents the common difference. Now, they told us the 9th term. So there's a very quick way to write your n term in arithmetic progression. Your first term is A, your second term is just A plus D, your third term is just what? A plus 2 times the difference, your fourth term is just A plus 3 times the difference, your fifth term is just what? A plus 4 times the difference, and so on and so forth. So this is something that is very logical, okay? And of course, that is gotten from the general formula of n term, which is equal to A plus n minus 1. Okay, this is the n term formula. And for example, if you wanted to get like your U3, so that means A plus n is going to be 3. So 3 minus 1 times, I forgot to write D there. So this, A plus 2D, as you can see, right? U3 is A plus 2D. So this is a faster way to get things done. So if I wanted to write like U50, it would just be A plus what? 1 less than the number of terms, A plus 49D. If I wanted to write U70, A plus 69D, as you can see here. U5 is A plus 4D. So in this question, the 9th term, which is U9, okay? U9 is A plus 8D. All right. And then U5 is equal to what? They said U5, the 9th term of an arithmetic. Okay, before that, let's just write out U5. U5 is equal to what? A plus 4D. Now, they told us that the 9th term is 5 times the 5th term. U9 is equal to 5 times of U5. So, therefore, A plus 8D, okay, 8 plus 8D, which is our U9, is equal to 5 times our U5, which is A plus 4D. So 5 times our U5, which is A plus 4D. So that being said, we have 8 plus A plus 8D to be equals to 5A plus, expanding the bracket, this is 5A, and then multiplying your 5 again by 4D, that's going to give us what? That's going to give us 20D. So we have plus 20D. But the question is saying find relationship between A and D. So just basically, rearrange to have that kind of answer, okay? Excuse me. So to rearrange, what do we do? We've expanded, we have 5A plus 4D. So let's bring everything to one side. So we can take these to that side and then these to the other side. So we definitely have 5A minus A, because this A comes to the other side. And then we have 20D, okay, equal to 0. So that's going to give us 4A. Oh, sorry, 20D. I forgot to take away 8D, right? So 20D, take away 8D is equal to 0. So because 8D comes to the other side to become negative. So therefore, 5A minus A is 4A. 20 minus 8 is what? Is 12. So minus 12 is equal to 0. If you look at this now, we don't really have any of this option. So I think they want us to reduce. You can divide everything by 4. So if you divide everything by 4, our final answer will be A minus 3D, which is equal to 0. So this is the relationship between A and D. So, and that is option... No. 20 minus 8D is plus, 20 minus 8 is plus 12. So divide both side by that, we have A plus 3D. So our answer is option B. All right, so that's how mistakes can come in. So make sure you're careful to avoid this mistake, okay? And that's all for algebra in this video. Now let's quickly go on to trigonometry and geometry, which is the next section in your UTME Maths. I hope you're enjoying this and I hope you're learning. I really hope and wish you get excellent scores in your maths. The next one, in the diagram below, a cylinder is surrounded by a hemispherical bowl. Calculate the volume of the solid. So this is called the composite shape, where you have one shape on top of another. The top shape here is a hemisphere, and the bottom shape here is a what? Cylinder, right? So the first thing is to work out the volume of this complete shape. The volume of the complete shape is basically the volume of the hemisphere plus the volume of the cylinder. Now, what is the volume of a hemisphere? Volume of a hemisphere is just half of the volume of a sphere, okay? The volume of a sphere, if I can write that here, a sphere is something that looks like a ball, like this. We have the radius. So the volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. Now, the volume of a hemisphere, volume of a sphere, volume of hemisphere, which is half of it, is just 4 over 3 pi r cubed times 1 over 2, half of that, right? So this cancel this, and then we have 2 over 3 pi r cubed. Okay, so the volume of a hemisphere is just 2 over 3 pi r cubed plus the volume of a cone, a cylinder. The volume of a cylinder, as we already know, is basically pi r squared times the height. Okay, pi radius squared times the height. So now let's plug in the numbers, right? For the hemisphere, now this comes the trick. For the hemisphere, what is the radius? The radius of the hemisphere is obviously from here to any part on the hemisphere. It could be like this or like that, okay? So as you can see here, the radius of the hemisphere is going to be these three over here, as you can see, which is the height of the hemisphere, is also the same thing as the radius of the hemisphere, okay? And because it's the hemisphere or the sphere, the radius can be from, anywhere. Let me just draw something. So the radius can be from here to this part. The radius can be from here to here is still the radius. From here to here is still the radius. So automatically here, it means that what? The radius of the hemisphere is also what? The radius of the cylinder. Okay, so the radius of the hemisphere, which is 3, also happens to be what? To be the radius of the cylinder, because the radius of the hemisphere will be the same in any direction you're taking it. So this is the radius of the cylinder is also 3 centimeters, right? So and the height of the cylinder we can see is 23. So let's plug in the numbers. 2 over 3 times pi times the radius, which is 3 cubed, plus pi times, because we can see our answers in terms of pi, so we need to keep our pi in the equation. Okay, so plus pi times radius squared, which is 3 squared, times what? Times the height, which is 23. Okay, so that being said, I have to do, if I was in the exam, I'm doing a very quick method. These 3 here, we remove one of the 3 here, so I'll be left with 3 to the power of 2. So very quickly, I know that 2 times 3 squared is 9. So 3 squared is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. So I have 18 pi, right? Plus this one, which is going to be 9 times 23. So this is why I will quickly grab my calculator to do 9 times 23. So on your calculator, you should have done it because that will be faster. So my calculator, 9 times 23 gives me 207. So I have 207 pi. So 18 plus 207, that gives me 225. So I have my answer, which is 225 pi centimeters cubed. So that's the answer. Oh, wow. In the options, we don't have anything like that. Okay. Have we made any mistake? 2 over 3 pi r cubed is the volume of a hemisphere. So 3 here, we have 3 squared left. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 18. 18 pi. This is 9. 9 times 23. Let me do that again. Oh my. 9 times 23 is 207. And 9 times 2, which is 18. So plus 18. And the answer is 225 pi centimeters cubed. So sometimes I think this is about typo errors. So we don't have the answer here. But our working out is very correct. The radius of the hemisphere is 3. So it's over 3 pi r cubed. And our cylinder, which is pi r squared times h, the height is 23. The radius is 3. So that's 3 squared times 23, which is 9 times 23, which gives 207 pi. And then this one, which is the hemisphere, which is 2 over 3 pi r cubed. This 3 cancels one of the 3 there. So 3 squared, which is 9 times 2, 18. So this is the correct answer. There's no doubt about that. It's correct. Perhaps there's a mistake in the question or in the options. So 225 pi centimeters cubed, and that's how to do it. Question 16, yeah, because I pick up these questions randomly, looking for the ones that can fit into the section. So I've not really solved them myself to really know exactly if there was a problem or not, right? So I'm just basically sending it to you guys. As I'm showing you now, we're basically solving it together, okay, for the first time. All right, question number 16. In the diagram below, XZ is the diameter of a circle XY. So XZ, which is this, is the diameter of a circle XYZW. So basically this circle, okay. Then they told us that with center O, there is a center O, and the radius of 5 over 2 centimeters. So the radius, which is from here to here, is 5 over 2 centimeters. Now, if xy is 12 centimeters, so xy this place is 12 centimeters. And then they said, find the area of the triangle XYZ. Okay, so this is very simple. If I would like to redraw that, that's something like this over here. So they're basically telling us that so X, Z, and Y, and then this place here is the center, which is 0. So the length of this place is 5 over 2. And because it's the radius, obviously this place is also what? 5 over 2. 15 over 2, I mean. So this place is also 15 over 2. So that makes the total length of XZ to be 15 over 2 plus 15 over 2. That's 30 over 2, which is what? Which is 15. So the whole of XZ is 15, and the total of this place is what? Is 12 centimeters. Now, if you look at this very well, how do I know? I shouldn't have written this here. How do I know that's a right angle? Yeah, this is a right angle because in our circle theorems, we learned that angle in a semicircle, okay, angle in a semicircle like this, forms what? Forms a right angle. The angle here, this is a semicircle. If this is a diameter, okay, let's call this AB. If the AB is a diameter, then the angle here is the right angle, okay? So angle formed from the diameter on the circumference is known as what? A semicircle. So this is the right angle. So this is a right angle. And you know, if you have a right angle like that, if I would like to draw it straight like this. So this is basically our y, this is our x, and this is our z. So we have xy 12 centimeters, we have xz 15 centimeters. But to work out the area, you know, we have to do what? We have to do half. Area of a triangle is half times the base times the height. This is our base and this is our height. So we have to find the what? We have to find the base. We have to find the base. And this is where we need to apply our what? Our Pythagoras. So our Pythagoras theorem says that 15 squared, which is the hypotenuse squared, is equal to what? The other two sides square added together. So base square, the b we're looking for, which is the base square, plus 12 squared. So that is 225, which is equal to 144 plus b squared. Take this to the other side. So that means we're going to have 225 minus 144 to be equal to b squared. 225 minus 144. My calculator, that gives me 81. So b squared is 81. I know take square root of both sides to find my b. So my b is going to be 9. So this is 9 centimeters. And now to work out the area, all I have to do is just what? Half times base times height. So my area is going to be 1 over 2 times the base, which is 9, times the height, which is 12. 2 here 1, 2 here 6. 9 times 6. That should be 60. 9 times 5 is 45. So that will be 54. So A is equal to 54 centimeters squared. The area of the triangle is 54 centimeters squared. And our answer is B. If you're not sure, if you don't trust me, you can always do your multiplication on your table, on your calculator, just for you to be sure. And if you're in the exam, I definitely recommend doing your calculations on your table. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of our questions on geometry and trigonometry. I'm going to move this a little bit to the side over there so we can have space here. All right, question 17, 18. So now we're now on calculus. Calculus, differentiation, integration, basically. And I love this section. All right, the very first question says, find the derivative of y sine squared 5x. Okay, this is very easy. Remember, if I have y is equal to x squared, my divide dx is what? My divide dx, which is differentiation. I can write it like that. Or you can write it as y dx is going to be 2x, right? Okay. Now, if we now have something called chain rule, right? Chain rule is when you have a function inside another function. Say, for example, I have y is equal to 2 into bracket x plus 5 squared. Or we can just say x plus 5 squared, okay? Let me just use x plus 5 squared. So I have a chain rule of x plus 5 squared. Why is this a chain rule? Because x plus 5 is a function. Then is now inside another function, which is what? The square. So this one, so you do the same thing. You differentiate. To differentiate, we basically what? Differentiate normally, which is, you multiply by the power. Just like we did in the first example, x squared. To differentiate that, you multiply by x squared, you multiply by the power, which is 2. 2 times x, and then you take away 1 from the power. 2 minus 1, and that gives you 2x, as we know. So the same thing, multiply by the power. That's going to be 2 into bracket x plus 5. And then take away 1 from the power. Then there's something you now need to do, because this is chain rule. This chain rule, we'll call it the chain rule. We have a function inside this place. So you have to differentiate what is inside here. So they differentiate what is inside here, which is x plus 5. If you differentiate x plus 5, if you differentiate x, you get 1. If you differentiate 5, that's 0. So basically, we're just multiplying everything here by 1. So times 1. And the answer is 2 into bracket x plus 5 to the power of 2 minus 1 is just 1. So this is the answer. Okay. Let me give one more example. If I have y is equal to x squared plus 3x to the power of 2. So to differentiate this, I differentiate normally by multiplying by the power, x squared plus 3x, take away 1 from the power. Then I will now multiply by differentiating what is inside the bracket. What is inside the bracket? And what is inside the bracket in this context? We have x squared plus 3x. If I differentiate x squared, I have 2x. If I differentiate 3, I have what? If I differentiate 3x, I have 3. So that will be 2x multiplied by 2x plus 3. And your answer will simply be 2 times x squared plus 3x times 2x plus 3. Now, why have I given this explanation? Because it's very important for the question we want to solve. So the question here says y equals to sine square 5x. Perhaps I did mention in our previous video that if you have y equals sine x, if you differentiate sine x, you will get what? Cos x, right? Now, in this question particularly now, we now have quite a number of situations. So we have a chain rule because we have many things going on. Y is equal to sine squared of what? Of 5x. Now, in order to differentiate this, you need to rewrite it as what? Y is equal to sine 5x all squared. That is the way you will be able to differentiate. Sine squared 5x and sine squared x means the same thing. Now, To answer the question, if y was equals to sine squared x, which is sine x squared, to differentiate that, I will just what multiply by the power. So it's going to take a while because I need to break things down very well. I'll just multiply by the power, just the way I was differentiating my x squared. Multiply by the power 2 times what? Sine x, and then take away 1 from the power. But because it's a chain rule, there's something inside the square. You now multiply by what is inside the square differentiated. Sine x is inside the square, so multiply by that. That will become cos x. And the answer will be 2 sine x cos x as our answer. But now, if you look at this one now, this question we want to solve now has 5x inside the game. So we want to do y is equal to, want to differentiate y is equal to sine 5x all squared. So to do this, you multiply by the power, okay, which is going to be sine 5x. You leave what's inside the bracket the way it is, take away 1 from the power, then multiply by what is inside differentiated. Now, what is inside differentiated is another what? Is another chain rule, because we have, if it was just sine x, if you differentiate sine x, it's just cos x. But now you're having sine 5x. All right. So you now have to do another what? Another chain rule inside of this space. So this is sine 5x, right? Normally, if I differentiate my what? My sine. If I differentiate my, so let me just write that somewhere. I want to differentiate sine 5x. If I differentiate sine x, it's cos x. But this is sine 5x. So differentiation of sine 5x is what? Cos 5x. Okay. But then there's now something inside of the sine 5x. All right. There's something inside of the what? Sine. It's not just sine x to give me cos x. It's sine 5x. So that 5x inside of the sine simply means there's a chain rule. And I have to differentiate what is inside the bracket again. So differentiating what is inside the bracket, which is 5x, is going to give me 5. I will take that. I will take that. So definitely our answer will be, finally, we're going to have 2 times sine 5x. 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is just going to be to the power of 1 times 5 cos 5x. So multiplying everything together, 5 times 2 times 5 can give us 10. And then we're going to have sine 5x cos 5x. That's the answer to that question, which I think the answer is option C. So not very difficult per se, but of course requires you to be very good with your chain rule. Okay, chain rule. That's what I just tried to explain, and I hope you got that. Because it's a paper question solution, I could have gone into more detail, but a very simplified manner like this is something that you just really need to be able to do your UTME exams correctly. Okay. And I hope that's clear. If it's not clear, let me know in the comment below, and I can actually make a video dedicated to how to do chain rule. Okay. All right. Question 18, and now we're still on our calculus. Okay, differentiation and integration. So let me just move this a little bit up so that it doesn't distract us somewhere there. Okay, and then we can just clean this one. All right. Question 18. The slope of the tangent to a curve y is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 5 at point this is what? The slope. When we talk about slope of a tangent, we're talking about gradient of a tangent. So if a tangent is a straight line, with the equation y is equal to mx plus c. So this m here represents what? The slope. So the question is now saying that the slope of the tangent to the curve. Now, when you have a curve, all right, and then you have a tangent to the curve. A tangent is basically a straight line that touches a curve at a particular point. Okay, so we have a tangent touching, this is a curve, and then this is a tangent touching it at that point. So this is the point of intersection. This is the tangent. Now, they now told us in the question that the slope of the tangent to the curve y equals 3x squared minus 2x plus 5 at the point 1, 6. At the point 1, 6 means the point where the curve and the tangent intersected, where they met. Now that we have this information, how do we calculate the slope? One thing to know is that to find the slope of a curve, all you have to do for this question is we have a curve. We have to find the slope of the curve. The slope of the curve at this point 1, 6. When we get the slope of the curve at this point 1, 6, the slope of the curve at the point 1, 6 is also the same thing as the slope of the tangent at that point. That's something you need to know. Okay, the gradient of a curve, the slope of a curve at a particular point, the gradient of a curve at a particular point is equal to what? The gradient of the tangent at that point. Okay, at that particular point. So let's find the gradient of the curve. To find the gradient of a curve, the first thing is you have to find the gradient function. And the gradient function is by differentiating the function. So when you differentiate this function, we have 6x take away 2, right? The function is y equals 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. So that will be differentiate multiply by the power 6x and take away 1 from the power, and then take away differentiation of 2x. Whenever you have an x attached to a number, if you want to differentiate, just remove the x and leave the number. So x minus 2. This is the what? This is the gradient of the curve. Now we need to find the gradient of the curve at the point 1, 6. That just means that we substitute our x coordinate into the gradient function we calculated just now. Okay. So to do that, we're going to have 6 times the x coordinate is 1. So 6 times 1. Okay, 6 times 1, and then take away 2. And that is what? 6 minus 2. And the answer is basically 4. So what does this mean? This means that the gradient of the curve at this point is what? Is 4. Therefore, the gradient of the tangent as well, okay, will also be what? 4 at that very point. That's what they wanted to get. And our answer is option B. All right, that being said, we are now on to the very last part of this solution, which is our statistics. Okay, statistics, we're told that we have an information here, number of days, and we have number of students. And then we're told that the distribution above shows the number of days a group of 260 students were absent from school in a particular term. How many students were absent for at least 4 days? At least. So there's a problem with this language, at least and at most. At least and at most. Students tend to struggle with it when it comes to statistics, particularly. Now, when we say at least in maths, at least means the smallest. If I say Shegun, eat at least 3 slices of bread, what does that mean? I'm saying eat what? 3 or more. Okay, so at least means let's say at least 3, for example, means what? 3 or more. The minimum you must eat is 3. So you can eat, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. So let's even use the number we have in this question. So in this question, if I say, Abdullah, eat at least 4 slices of bread. Okay, before you go to school today, eat at least 4 slices of bread. At least 4 means what? 4 or more. That is, it can be 4 or above 4. At most, if I say, Idris, make sure that at most you eat 10 slices of bread, or let's say 4 slices of bread before you go to school. At most in that context means what? The maximum you can eat is what? 4, which means you can eat 4 or what? Or less. Okay, so when you hear the word at least, okereju, the smallest in Yoruba, it means okereju, like the smallest you can take. Are we together? So if you know that, we can answer this question. So the question is now saying, how many students were absent at least 4 days in a term? At least 4 days in a term means what? They were absent for 4 days or more. So number of days, how many students are absent for 4 days or 5 days or what? 6 days. So those number of students were 40, 2x, and what? So number of students are absent for at least 4 days is going to be 40 students plus 2x plus 60. So this is basically 100 plus 2x. So to finally answer this question, we need to know what x is. And to find x is very simple because this is the number of students. So the sum of everything here must give us what? Must give us the total number of students. So sum of everything we have here must be equal to the total number of students. So let's quickly find x. So 20 plus x plus 50 plus 40 plus 2x plus 60. Okay, which is equal to 260. So 20 plus 50 plus 40 plus 60. What do we have? We're going to have, this is going to be 70. So this is 70. 70 plus 40, 130. 130 plus 60. And that will be 190. So we have 190. And there are x plus 2x. That is basically what? 3x equal to 260. Collect items, move 190 to the other side. So we have 3x is equal to 260. Take away 190. So that will be 3x is equal to 260. Take away 190. That will be 70. Right? So 70. 3 divided by 70. That's going to give us a decimal. Is there a mistake somewhere? 20 plus 50, 70. 70 plus 40, 110. 110 plus. Oh, okay. 50 plus 20 plus 60, 70. 70 plus 40, 110. Yeah, 110 plus 60. Oh, 170. All right, 170. So this take away 170, and then that will give me 90, right? Use a calculator, please. I'm doing this without my calculator. Make sure you use a calculator. So 260 minus 170, so 60 plus 30. That should be 90. Divide by 3, and x is equal to 30. So if x is 30, then that means this place is going to be 2 times 30, which is 60. So we have 100 plus 60, and our final answer is 160. So there are 160 students that are absent for at least 4 days. Okay. Finally, probability. Again, this is another topic that students find very hard. Look, if you have any question, like if there's any part of this you'd like me to make a comprehensive video on, maybe do more questions on them, I'll be willing to do that. Just let me know in the comment section. The probability of a student passing any examination is 2 over 3. So probability of passing is 2 over 3. One thing you should know is that in probability always adds up to 1. If probability of passing is 2 over 3, then probability of failing must be 1 over 3. Okay? If I say that, probability of me going to school today is 9 over 10, and the probability of me not going to school is 1 over 10. All right? So if the student takes 3 exams, what is the probability that he will not pass any of them? Okay, it takes 3 exams. Probability that what? He failed the first exam, fail the second exam, and fail the third exam. That's very simple. Probability of failing is 1 over 3, isn't it? So that's just 1 over 3 times 1 over 3 times 1 over 3, and that is 1 over 27. Our answer is A. As easy as that. All right, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you share this with your friends. And of course, I believe you've learned quite a lot. More videos are coming. More videos are coming. So well done. I know you're fired. I know you're preparing. You're revising. Yes, keep it up. Keep going. I will be dropping videos on more questions to be solved, and also, and the thing I think you should be doing, on the eve of your exam or the run off to your exams, what should be your priority. I'll be making a video on that soon. Okay, stay tuned to the channel, share this with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.